So today is day 2 of my backpacking trip to Panamint City. This is the day I leave Panamint City. I'm standing on the porch of the castle where I spent the night. It was honestly really cool. I expected all of the structures to be in some sort of dilapidation. Not only was this structure upright, it was clean. You know, there was stuff there so that you can actually spend a lot more time here, like cookware and spices and coffee and food coolers and reading material. And so if I do this again, I might actually spend a little bit more time instead of doing that quick out and back. But I'm about to leave the castle, and I want to flip this around and show you something. So this is that really cool front porch of the castle, and on that front porch is a thermometer. Let me show you what it's reading right now. It's like 26 degrees, so it is cold. So I'm heading back into the town. Probably gonna wake the Boy Scouts up who are sleeping in one of the cabins down there. And it was a really, really nice night. The cabin kept me warm. You can see the mine straight across there. I've got warm backpacking gear. I did have a little bit of a scare in the morning. Let me just show you the castle. Look at the roof there. It's kind of that corrugated tin. I was hearing scratching, and there's going to be rodents around here, of course. I didn't see any rodents or any rodent droppings inside the cabin, and it looks like they've taken effort to seal that up so that doesn't happen. But I heard scratching, and then I heard a really like, and it was like, it didn't sound like a real noise. It didn't sound like a noise an animal would make. And it took me forever to realize it was something running across the roof, and that corrugated tin roof was making that unnatural noise. But it was kind of a terrifying noise. Anyway, headed back down into town. I'm going to pass some of the other cabins that are not in as good of a state as this one in Hilton were. And here's a look back down the canyon that I will be heading out. Okay, approaching town. This is the mine and the smelter stack right there. There's some cabins on this side. That's the Hilton where the Boy Scouts are. There's some cabins on the side here. I'm going to go take a quick peek at them. Also going to try to keep my voice down because some of the Boy Scouts are still sleeping. Okay, approaching cabin number 1. And it's already missing windows and such. So I'm glad the other cabin was so nice. I'm going to take a quick peek. Let's see what we got. Nicer than I thought. But this is what I expected all the cabins to look like. People still sleep in here. And attempt to clean. This one, I would really be worried about the hantavirus though. But if you need a shelter and are willing to risk the hantavirus, this is your cabin. And this last cabin is not a cabin. It is a shed that is falling apart. Looks like there might be a cabin up there, but I can already see what I need to see about that cabin. Okay, so I'm gonna go across town quickly to look at the mine. Okay, here's that big opening to the mine. There, it looked like there was another like really sketchy shaft over there. But I want to preface this by saying mines are incredibly, incredibly dangerous places to enter. You know, they were dangerous back in the day, and they are dangerous now that they don't have any maintenance done. Put my light on. I mean, there's the general hazards, the physical hazards, and then there's also potential for gases. You can see some of this stuff up here. So one of the only reasons I'm entering this is because Boy Scouts told me of something cool that hopefully isn't too far back here. And they all made it out alive, which isn't a good excuse, but mines are constantly changing, and even though they're safe to enter one day, not safe to enter another day. Okay, that being said, I am going in with some trepidation. Now, this has been on the ceiling, these sparkly things. I know this was a silver mine. I'm not sure if this is remnant silver or if it's just some other mineral. Usually when you have a mine, it's not all that one metal. It's usually, several metals. And if you know how to do it right, you can extract quite a bit. But the ceiling has been sparkly. Okay, heading back out. You can see the light out there. I saw a couple of rock falls that I wouldn't say happened recently, but obviously have happened. So I'm just by myself right now, so I'm not going to be exploring this cave too much. I mean, even the Boy Scouts did it. They had, I think, somebody out front waiting the whole time. So heading back out, what's supposed to be back here is kind of a memorial with the names of the miners who died in the 1870s when this mine was going. It's a cool bit of history to see, but I am not prepared for an accident in a mine, so I am heading out. Always be safe. I'm by myself, so I shouldn't have come in here anyway, and I advise people not to enter mines by themselves. So heading back out. Okay, before I leave, this is something interesting. It reminds me of what I was reading in the historical materials last night in the castle, and that is there were a lot of no-good criminals in this town. Possibly the mine was founded by no-good criminals, and not only were there a lot of crimes in town itself, but the trail in was known for holdups. So it had such a bad reputation that Wells Fargo refused to do a route in here, which left the miners, or the people owning the mine, at a huge disadvantage. So their solution was to, and this is why the smelter's there, is to smelt the silver, into quarter-ton balls to transport out. So, I mean, if the highwaymen held up that shipment coming out, I mean, what are they going to do? It's kind of hard to transport. So it allowed the mine owners to safely get their silver out of this mountain, down that valley, and to wherever it was going to go. So I'm attempting to head out of town via the old Main Street. These are some of the foundations, some of the earlier houses that were washed away by the flood. You can see there's not much left of anything here right now. Here's for reference, it's the mine and the smelter over there. Oh, here it is. You can see all the rubble down here. In its heyday, Main Street ran a mile. The sun is up now, leaving Panamint City and heading back down the canyon. And different views going back down the canyon, because you can see the valley getting closer and closer the further you go down. And this time I will try to vlog more than just water, because there's not water the entire length of this canyon. It's kind of a choose your own adventure. There's no real trail. There's a couple social trails like what I'm on right now, but sometimes the trails will lead you in wrong directions. Like I had what looked like a real manicured trail lead me straight into a canyon wall, and I had to backtrack. So it's a difficult hike. It's way more of a strenuous hike than most of your backpacking trails, and I'll see if I can show a little bit more of it on the way down today. A little further down the canyon now. It's still pretty dry. Turning around, way back there, Panamint City. Can't see it anymore. But there's that nice bend where it looks like it narrows a little bit, and then I should be hitting Brewery Spring. Again, try not to show all the water in this day of vlogging, so it'll just be a flyby for Brewery Spring. There's also a little overhang called the Tunnel of Love. That's just before Brewery Spring, and then there's a nice little campsite after Brewery Spring. Already pretty drastic change of scenery. This is the Tunnel of Love coming up here. Already went through a bit of a tunnel to get here. I don't know if this is all the Tunnel of Love. This looks dead and pokey. But then you've got this nice little archway from a tree that I'm sure when it's hot and sunny is really nice just to hang out. Maybe take a seat, grab a snack. I can already hear the spring. It's just around the corner here. Let me keep walking till I get there. Trying to dodge all these pokey things sticking out. Looks like people have been here to cut them down though, so that's good. Alright, you can see the water. And then I'm going to turn the corner and you'll be able to see the sign that took me a while to see for some reason. Brewery Spring, right there. Alright, can already hear, can't see them, hear the Air Force doing their flybys in Panamint Valley. It got dampened in Panamint City, which was nice. Nice to have some quiet. But this is the nice little campsite just kind of downstream. I just came out of the water there, downstream of Brewery Spring. So most people underestimate this hike because it's not that far as actual miles are concerned, but it's it's a lot tougher than it seems. You got some scrambling, some bushwhacking, lots of decision making as to what's the right path to take, that sort of stuff. And you're going uphill. So a lot of people don't make it to the city when they start their hike. And so if you don't, that's a great place. Okay, here's a decision. Go here towards the water or over here. I'm trying to remember where I came from. But that's a decision to make. Now I lost my train of thought. So if you don't make it all the way to the top, stop at Brewery Spring. There's my point. I might try going this way right now. Approximately halfway between Brewery and Limekiln Springs. It's in a narrower part of the canyon. It's not really that narrow. Definitely starts to narrow further I go down. And right now it's still kind of dry and I would say easier to walk. But I believe past Limekiln, if I can remember from yesterday, it's got a lot of water and therefore a lot of vegetation. So I'll probably be doing a lot more bushwhacking after Limekiln Springs. Just around the corner from Limekiln Springs, which means vegetation, which means bushwhacking. And the only reason there's a path here is because people come up here all the time. But I've got long sleeves and long pants on, and I got pretty scratched up on the way up here. Assuming gonna get pretty scratched up on the way down too. Okay, this was interesting that I saw on the way up. I'm still in the area around Limekiln. It's an animal skeleton. I don't know what kind of animal it is. If I were to guess, I would say burro, because there are wild burros around here. I actually saw some in Panamint Valley as I was coming up here yesterday, just hanging out. It was right when I got buzzed by the Air Force too. But also interesting note, there was a sock. I don't know if you saw in that last clip on the branch. That was actually my sock. Not sure if it got snagged on the way out or not. I didn't know it was missing. It was a sock I was keeping in an outside pocket. But hopefully I have the other one still. Guess what I found? I found Limekiln Eden. It was easier to see coming down. There's a path that kind of went off to the side with the vegetation. So let me show you my entrance to Eden. See, I was looking at all of this and all of this and all of this crap that I just came through. But, you know, I didn't think there'd be anything that was lush and green. Well, let's go inside. This is pretty unexpected and hidden. And I'm assuming this is the spring source, as it is uncaught on stuff. But, oh, look at that. That's the spring right there. That's really cool. Okay, I'm going to stop filming and untangle myself from these branches. Hit another dry stretch just past Limekiln and starting to see a little bit more Panamint Valley. Zoom in on it. And for the moment, no fighter jets flying over. It's nice and peaceful. Can actually hear the trickle of the creek. More tight quarters. Already had to do a little bit of scrambling. Here's a part that goes sharply up the hill, and on the way back it's sharply down. Ended up doing some butt scooting, but it's going to get pretty hard from here on out, I would imagine. And I think there's going to be a lot more water. But that means I'm getting lower down in the canyon. More water and more tight corners. And the canyon has narrowed. Actually almost reminds me of some of those canyons in the Grand Canyon. Parts of the Grand Canyon in this little section. Don't remember doing this much bushwhacking in the Grand Canyon though. Look at this. Look at that. That's cool. The canyon's narrowing. I think I might be getting to the waterfall section soon, which would be awesome because the waterfall section is pretty close to the trailhead. This section's been a mess. Right here it's not so bad with the canyon, but there's tons of these trails. They're all ones you gotta kind of bushwhack through. Sometimes they'll lead you someplace. Let's switch over here to this trail. Sometimes they'll lead you out, or it's just been a mess, and I've been totally scraped up just trying to make my way down to the canyon. I did do a GPS track of my route yesterday, so I've been referencing that when making these decisions about which trails to take, but I just need to get down this canyon. It's proven to be quite the adventure. Well, I made it out of the thicket and I've approached the waterfall section. So there was one path in that kind of densely vegetated area that took me out. You just had to find the right one. Now I'm excited to see the waterfalls because this is a gorgeous section with these white narrows here and obviously waterfalls. But and I know it's the end of the hike, and that's part of the problem. I'm going to be tempted to take it fast, and this is really, really slick whether you take the rocks or the water. So I know it's close to the end of my hike, but gotta take this nice and slowly. Just navigating some waterfalls. It's much scarier to me going down than it was going up. Alright, I appear to be out of the waterfalls, and well, what's interesting with the waterfalls is I was using the marble way more on the way down than on the way up. On the way up it looked like I could step up the waterfalls like stairs. On the way down it looked like I would just slip, but the marble I could just butt scoot or slide down, so it ended up being way easier using the marble, at least for me, on the way down. Alright, so heading towards the trailhead at Bushwhacking Camp. Just past that old mine shaft, I guess it is, mining relic, and I'm starting to get really nice good views down into Panamint Valley where you can actually see the dry lake bed, the white down there. It's pretty amazing that I woke up and went out on the front porch this morning. First of all, that I had a front porch in the backcountry. That I woke up and I got on the front porch and I looked over at a wall of snow on the other side of the canyon, and now I'm looking at a dry lake bed. So as you can see from the cars below, I'm back at the Bushwhacking Camp and back at the trailhead. So that's it for my overnight adventure to the ghost town of Panama City. And for a little bit of closure, I do have 2 pairs of socks now. So the one I found on the trail does still have its pair. So hopefully I'll get another vlogged backpacking trip in while I'm here. And until then, see you next time.